Hey guys, so for today we're going to be reading chapter 13. May I speak to Izuku Midoriya? This is him speaking. Hello, I'm Dr. Maturki. I've been your mother's main doctor since she arrived here. Izuku stayed silent, waiting for the dreadful words. I'm calling to inform you that your mother's body has began to shut down. We believe she overdosed on her medication. I'm dearly sorry. She's too far for us to save her. Her body just can't sustain herself. Izuku felt like hurling. So many emotions were engulfing the boy. He wasn't sure if he should cry or scream. Maybe even both. She has about a day left. Since you are the only one on our contact list, I was wondering if you would like to say your last goodbyes. I'm incredibly sorry. Without even answering, he clicked the end call button. Hearing the subtitle buzz and dropped his phone to the cold hardwood floor. He slowly tilted his head so he could stare at his hand. He began to open and close his fist, trying to fully comprehend what he had just been told. A single tear fell down his freckled, dusted cheek, but he didn't even notice. She's going to die? Izuku felt his face drain of color. Large tears began pouring from his beautiful emerald eyes. The one person who had supported him since the beginning, the person who had comforted him when he was down, the only person who Izuku wholeheartedly trusted, the person who had loved him no matter what, the person he had tried so desperately to protect, to save from his god-awful father, had finally slipped through his grasp, too far for us to save. She was going to be gone. Gone. He'll never see one of her smiles again. Never again will he be greeted with her tight and loving hugs. He will never have the one person who made him forget about all his pain, all his sacrifice, every single thought that would leave him appalled. Before he could notice, he was crouched on the ground, sobbing his heart out. He was silent, however. No noise came from him. If someone looked over, they would simply see a shaking boy, tears dropping onto the floor. And someone did look over. Bakugo had heard the young boy drop his phone. He had immediately gotten ready to scream at the boy to go to bed. However, right before he did, he had glanced over and nearly fell off the couch. Izuku slowly crouched down, grabbing at his hair. He watched as silent tears dripped down the boy's face. Bakugo felt his chest tighten, and he sat up straight, knocking his blanket to the floor. Now that Bakugo had a better view of Izuku, he could see that he was scratching at his left wrist. Blood began dripping from his reopened wound, and it made Bakugo sick to his stomach. Izuku slowly removed himself from the crouching position and began gathering his belongings. He didn't bother to go by the couch. He didn't even notice Bakugo's crimson eyes watching him in the dark. He dodged his sleeping classmates and went straight to his bag, grabbing his jacket on the way. He quickly slipped on his shoes and dashed out the hallway. Bakugo shot off the couch, almost slipping on his fallen blanket, and ran to grab his own jacket and shoes. He put both items on in a blink of an eye, just fast enough for him to see Izuku silently slipping out of the house, closing the door behind him. Bakugo sprinted after him, nearly breaking the doorknob as he pulled it open. As the cold air hit him in the face, Bakugo scanned Momo's front yard. He panicked as he noticed that he could no longer see Izuku's mop of green hair. He whipped his head side to side, trying to get a glimpse of the slightly shorter male. With a large sigh, Bakugo finally noticed the green teen at the front of Momo's gate, pulling it open. Bakugo dashed down the pathway leading down to the gate and slipping out. He was only a meter or so away from Izuku now, so he grabbed the back of Izuku's jacket, stopping Izuku mid-step. Izuku snapped his head back, terrified that he would see the gruffly face of his father. To his surprise and relief, he wasn't met with his father deathly terrifying glare. He wasn't met with his father's deathly terrifying glare. Instead, he was met with Koski's crimson eyes filled with confusion and worry. "Where the fuck are you going?" the blonde questioned, staring down at Izuku's still to hear shrieked face. Izuku stopped himself as he let out a heart-wrenching sob. She's dying, he yelled, covering his face as more tears sprang to his eyes. "Who's dying?" Bakugo slowly removed Izuku's scarred hands from his face and wiped one of Izuku's eyes, trying to slightly comfort the distressed teen. He was doing a decent job, saying it was Koski Bakugo, and he usually wasn't one to comfort people. The only person he had ever seen comfort people was Inko, so Bakugo had a small amount of knowledge of how to comfort people, especially for Izuku. He had watched Inko comfort the boy countless of times. Bakugo began rubbing Izuku's back, just like he had seen Inko do. Izuku sniffed, trying to hide his face again. He began, but once again he stopped himself. He didn't want to share his personal problems with anyone. However, Bakugo knew Inko. In fact, Bakugo knew Inko. In fact, Inko actually used to think of Bakugo as a second child, saying how much she saw him, so Bakugo wasn't just anyone. He might be someone Inko would want to see. With this newfound thought, Izuku glanced up at Bakugo, looking at his nose instead of his eyes. My mom, he whispered, turning his head to the side as more tears dropped down his face. Bakugo stops rubbing his back and stares back at Izuku. He was shocked. He knew Inko wasn't at her best, but he had no idea that she was dying. He had known Inko almost like a second mother as a child. Even though he would never admit it, he felt terrible, but he had no time to worry about his own scowling. He had a specific green-haired boy to comfort. Is she at the hospital? Bakugo said calmly, wiping one of Izuku's tears. The shorter boy nodded, looking at the ground. One second. Stay here, Bakugo whispered, letting go of Izuku's jacket. Izuku looked at him, questionable, but did as what was instructed to. Bakugo swiftly ran back inside, grabbing his keys and phone from the coffee table and dashed back out, leading Izuku to his car. Bakugo swallowed a lump in his throat as he opened the passenger seat, allowing Izuku inside. Izuku sat silently, trying to calm himself down. Every memory of his mother was flashing before his eyes, and he found himself crying again before the car even started. Bakugo somewhat freaked out because of this. He had no idea, but for some reason he didn't want to see the nerd cry, even though it's a healthy reaction to the situation. Since when did Bakugo give a fuck about Izuku? Wait, why did he give a damn if the nerd was crying? Why was he being nice to him? He stopped that when they were merely children. With these thoughts, Bakugo had an urge to kick Izuku out of the car or yell at him. However, when he heard the sniffles that was coming from the balled-up teen, he simply lost all interest in kicking him out. His heart immediately had that painful feeling again. God damn it, why was he feeling like this? Bakugo shook his head in an attempt to get his thoughts back together. It didn't work. For at least 20 minutes, the blonde was simply thinking about the feeling that kept creeping back on him whenever. Nope. He's not even going to acknowledge it. Absolutely not. He has this feeling other times with other people, right? Okay, guys, so that was chapter 13. I'm sorry if you heard my cat in the background, but I will see you guys tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be my last post until Monday next week. Bye!